The bustle of the 1980s. On an average weekday, thousands of commuters pass through Cambridge Station. Their destination will most probably be the capital, and their means of transport will be in the latest generation of electric units. The railway reflects this age of mass travel, with everything from signalling to station hardware, designed to work at maximum efficiency. This is a totally different era from that of 30 years ago. Then Cambridge Station was the hub of a system of branch lines serving the eastern counties. In the first part of this programme, we'll study one of these lines, that of the branch running northeast to the town of Mildenhall. The flat landscape of the eastern counties was an easy one in which to build railways. An extensive network could develop, unhindered by geographical obstacles such as hills and valleys. However, the area was at the same time sparsely populated, with agriculture the main occupation. Cambridge provided the starting point for the branch to Mildenhall. We'll now take a journey along the branch in 1959. Notice the LNER lower quadrant power-operated signals at the northern end of Cambridge Station. These were to survive until the early 1970s. The trains for Mildenhall followed the main line to King's Lynn for a short distance and then diverged to the northeast at the junction station at Burwell. Once on the branch, the pace of things slowed down considerably. These sequences were filmed with the full cooperation of the engine crew, who would obligingly back the train down the platform and re-enter the station to ensure that the cameraman obtained the perfect sequence of film. The signalman here at Burwell lived alongside the line at Swaffham Prior, several miles away on the branch. And the driver would often slow down while approaching this spot in order to deposit a few lumps of coal in the garden. On more than one occasion, the coal was thrown a little too enthusiastically and actually landed in the fireplace in the house. The train crew often supplemented their station stops by picking up passengers by the line. Such practices were a little safer when conducted well away from the main line. The first of the stations was here at Quine. The station master greets the train in time-honoured fashion. These sequences were taken from the steps of the signal box. The box itself was well out of bounds to all visitors because it housed the station master's collection of prized geraniums. We're now approaching the second of the stations at Bottisham. Notice the small yard on the right of the line. Freight traffic was generally light and was of a seasonal nature, being based on agricultural traffic. By the time these scenes were taken, most perishable traffic had been transferred to road haulage. Cambridge had an allocation of Iveck Class II moguls, and these modern lightweight locomotives occasionally saw action on the branch. Now, notice the way the track slews to the right at Swaffham Prior. This was the intended site of a passing loop. Burwell possessed a fairly large station. At this time, the main station house had a large, leather-bound Bible, which was held with strict instructions that parts should be read out to staff in times of need. Such a practice was, in fact, common in the days of the Great Eastern Railway. At Fordham, the branch crossed the line from Ely to Ipswich. The station was reasonably busy with interchange traffic, and on this occasion there was some freight to collect from the local market gardens. We're now back on the single-tracked branch and heading northwest towards the next of the stations at Isleham. Mildenhall was the largest and busiest station on the line. It was typical of numerous branch termini in the eastern counties, possessing a run-round loop, goods shed, turntable, and signal box. 62785 was the last survivor of the 240 wheel arrangement on British Railways. She was built at Stratford in 1895 by the Great Eastern as one of 100 members of Class T26, and was later classified Class E4 by the LNER. 62785 outlived her classmates by nearly 2 years, working from Cambridge Shed until her withdrawal in December 1959. The locomotive then returned to Stratford under her own steam for restoration as GER number 490. She can now be seen in all the glory of the Great Eastern blue livery at York, although 1959 was to be the last year of actual steaming. This sequence was obligingly laid on by the staff for our cameraman, who was told to crouch down in an overgrown pit at the side of the turntable in order to film from a rather unusual viewpoint. Power was provided by the train crew. Turning the E4 with its short wheelbase was a relatively easy matter, although larger engines could present more of a problem. After turning, 62785 is ready for the return run to Cambridge. Soon after these scenes were taken, a DMU service was introduced. However, this only postponed closure for a couple of years, and on the 18th of June 1962, the passenger service was withdrawn, although freight survived until 1964. By 1968, the track had been lifted, and the memory of services along the branch became ever more distant. Today, in 1988, Mildenhall station survives, having been beautifully restored as a private dwelling. The station site too has been cleared of vegetation, while the magnificent goods shed still sees regular use. The absence of large earthworks on the line has meant the disappearance of long sections of track bed. The line beyond these bushes has been completely ploughed under. The substantial Great Eastern buildings have proved ideal for restoration, although this example at Isleham is hardly recognizable as a former station. At Fordham, the interchange platforms and junctions have totally disappeared, although the main station building, seen to the left of the line, survives. For a line which closed 25 years ago, some of the stations survive in a remarkable state of preservation. This example of Bottisham retains both platforms, together with original buildings. At Quay, the signal box and its geraniums have long since departed, although once again the station remains reasonably intact. Remarkably, one section of the line remains open to freight traffic. Barnwell Junction still possesses a single track serving a nearby industrial estate. The days of the steam-worked East Anglian branch line of the 50s belong to a very different age of rural travel.